good. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Bahá'í community of Louisville, I would like to welcome you to our gathering this evening. We are here to celebrate the birth of the Bab, the herald of the Bahá'í faith. The Bab was born Sayyid Ali Muhammad, which I find it very fitting that we are celebrating at the Muhammad Ali Center. He was born on October 28, 1819 in southern Persia, modern-day Iran. Every account we have of his childhood indicates that he was not an ordinary child and possessed vast innate knowledge. In 1844, when he was only 25 years old, he announced that he was the bearer of a message destined to transform the life of humanity. He took the title the Bab, which when translated means the gate in Arabic. Because of his principal mission to announce the imminent advent of another prophet, Baha'u'llah. The Bab foretold that Baha'u'llah would usher in the age of peace and justice promised in all the world's religions. Just as John the Baptist had been the herald or gate of the Christ, so was the Bab the herald, the gate of Baha'u'llah. In a short period of time, his message of equality, social justice, spiritual renewal, and moral reform aroused hope and devotion among thousands of people. However, given its rapid spread and dramatic departure from the societal norms of this time, including dictatorial rule, ecclesiastical privilege, and oppressive social standards, his message simultaneously invoked the fierce opposition of the political authorities and clergy in Persia. The Bab's popularity quickly grew to such an extent that envious clergymen, concerned about losing their prestige, power, and authority, asked the government to have the Bab imprisoned and soon after executed. Despite its revolutionary core teachings of the oneness of humanity, elimination of wealth and poverty, the systematic persecution of the followers of the Bahá'í faith continues to this day. The call of the Bab for new spiritual teachings, peace, and social justice not only impacted his country, which was undergoing widespread moral and social breakdown, but also changed the lives of millions all over the globe who believe that the Bab set in motion a fresh cycle of progressive revelation to humanity. Like all of the major religions of the past that were initially attacked and oppressed by leaders of their respective age, that proved to ultimately infuse these societies with positive values and ideals, the unifying message of the Bab is now diffusing across the globe and attracting the attention of many leaders of thought, such as the eminent novelist Leo Tolstoy, who wrote, "The faith of the Bab now presents us with the highest and purest form of religious doctrine." Dear friends, again, welcome to our celebration of the life of the Bab this evening. His teachings of the unity of all religions and his ultimate sacrifice may give us the courage to withstand prejudices that lurk beneath the thin veneer of our civilization.
The Lord of the universe hath never raised up a prophet, nor hath he sent down a book, unless he hath established his covenant with all men, calling for their acceptance of the next revelation and of the next book, inasmuch as the outpourings of his bounty are ceaseless and without limit. I am the primal point from which have been generated all created things. I am the countenance of God, whose splendor can never be obscured, the light of God, whose radiance can never fade. God beareth me witness, I was not a man of learning, for I was trained as a merchant. In the year 60, God graciously infused my soul with the conclusive evidences and weighty knowledge which characterize him who is the testimony of God. May peace be upon him. Until finally, in that year, I proclaimed God's hidden cause and unveiled its well-guarded pillar, in such wise that no one could refute it, that he who should perish might perish with a clear proof before him, and he who should live might live by clear proof. Verily, the one true God beareth me witness, that in this day I am the true mystic fane of God, and the essence of all good.
All men that proceed from God, and unto him shall all return. All shall appear before him for judgment. He is the Lord of the day of resurrection, a regeneration and a reckoning. And he who reveals word is the balance. Truth death is realization when attempted denied to himself at the time of his revelation, in such wise that it seeketh none except him. True resurrection for the settlers means to be quickened in conformity with his will through the power of his utterance. The day when ill worship had deemed sufficient are ended. The time has come when none but the purest motive, supported by the deeds of stainless purity, can ascend to the throne of the Most High and be acceptable unto him. The day he revealed himself in Resurrection Day, which shall last as long as he is ordained. Everything belongs unto him and is fashioned by him. All beside him are his creations.
The day of resurrection is a day on which the sun rises and setteth like unto any other day. How oft has the day of resurrection dawned, and the people of the land where it occurred did not learn of the event. Had they heard, they would not have believed, and thus they were not told. There is no paradise in the estimation of the believers in the divine unity, more exalted than to obey God's commandments. There is no fire in the eyes of those who have known God and his signs fiercer than to transgress his laws and to oppress another soul, even to the extent of a mustard seed. On the day of resurrection, God will, in truth, judge all men, and we all verily plead for his grace.
In this mountain I have remained alone, and have come to such a pass that none of those gone before me have suffered what I've suffered, nor any transgressor endured what I have endured. I render praise unto God, and yet again praise him. I find myself free from sorrow inasmuch as I abide within the good pleasure of my Lord and Master. Methinks I am in the all-highest paradise, rejoicing at my communion with God, the most great. Verily, this is a bounty which God hath conferred upon me, and he is the Lord of unbounded great blessings. O people of the earth, whoso obeyeth the remembrance of God and his book, hath in truth obeyed God and his chosen ones. And he will, in the life to come, be reckoned in the presence of God among the inmates of the paradise of his good pleasure.
God created this garden we call Earth. We can travel its lands, past its boundaries, and come back to where we started. We can gaze up at the unending universe, use the stars as guideposts for our wanderings, and come back to where we started. We meet others who are like us, good and bad, holy and unrighteous, all lost, all wondering, and each yearning for a reunion with where we have started. The beginning. In the beginning, as some say, God stepped out onto space and said, "Let there be!" And this garden became all perfect and serene. He formed humanity from the dust of the earth. He breathed life into us and we became living souls. But the snake tempted the ego and we lost paradise. But that is not the end of the story. In the beginning, as some say, there was nothing in the world but the wise Lord who lived in endless light. The wise Lord made this garden, shining sky, pure water, plants, moist and sweet, and people, tall and bright and beautiful. But the evil spirit lived in darkness and created demons and monsters and witches to attack that which is tall and bright and beautiful. But that is not the end of the story. In the beginning, as some say, there was no ground to live on, but up above, in the great blue, there was a woman who dreamed dreams, but she was misunderstood and she was thrown through a hole in the sky. The world was in the sky, and below there was only one water and the animals living in it. She fell through the sky, but these animals saved her and built this garden for her to live on. The sky woman gave birth to twins who fought over the earth. But that is not the end of the story. In the beginning, as some say, there was the Fromm, who came from humans, who attained enlightenment, who came from the Fromm, who ate the dust of this garden, never beginning, ever ending, and this garden ends from a beginning and begins again. Destructions giving birth to creations eternally, striving for perfections, even as we eternally separate ourselves into colors, in classes, and castes, and we forget our Creator. But that is not the end of the story. The Great Spirit, Allah, God, Jehovah, Ahura Mazda, Brahma, we have forgotten the name of our Creator. And we wage war over all that has been created, the land, the air, each other, ourselves, and we fight. We fight over what we have forgotten, the name of our Creator. The Creator made our world, our reality, our essence, and we disrespect that in our thoughts, our words, our deeds. And we are removed from God's presence. But that is not the end of the story. God has never abandoned His creation. We are His children, and He renews our chance for redemption, even as we despise our brothers and sisters, disrespect our bodies, dishonor our Creator. As we wander in darkness, a guiding light has been given to us. As we wage war over the earth's gifts, the true treasure has been offered to us. As we cry out for comfort, the balm for our misery has been made manifest. We are created noble. The gate to reunion with our Creator has opened. Thy kingdom come on earth as it is in heaven. The gate to a new paradise has been opened. We are the leaves of one branch, the waves of one ocean. The gate to true spiritual unity has been opened. Zoroaster, Moses, Jesus, Muhammad, Buddha, Krishna, in each God has been made manifest on earth, and he has yet again. The gate has come. His name is the Ba, and he is the herald for the one whom God has made manifest. He has opened the path for the one who will continue the story. No one but you can tell your story. But only the divine can bring us closer to our Creator. The story continues for us all. The same sun illuminates us all. This path is open for all of us to tread. This task is for each of us to undertake. Scatter throughout the length and breadth of your world and declare with a lion's courage through your thoughts, your words, your deeds, that this is the age of unity. Heed not your weakness and frailty. Has not the Almighty enabled Moses, whose staff was his only companion, to vanquish Pharaoh and his armies? Did he not make the martyrdom of Christ Jesus to be the triumph over the Sadducees and Pharisees? Did he not subjugate the barbarous and militant tribes of Arabia to the divine and transforming discipline of Muhammad, his prophet? Let your light shine to all peoples. It belongs to every person, no matter how praised by the world or reprehensible their deeds. You are the lowly that God will make worthy. Prepared for you is the advent of a mighty day, and to whom much is given, much is expected. The task is for each of us to overtake. Arise and be assured of ultimate victory. If not now, when? If not you, then who?
In the name of the one born on this day, him whom God hath made to be the herald of his name, the Almighty, the All-Loving. This is a tablet we have addressed unto that night, wherein the heavens and the earth were illumined by a light that cast its radiance over the entire creation. Blessed art thou, O night, for through thee was born the day of God, a day which we have ordained to be the lamp of salvation unto the denizens of the cities of names, the chalice of victory unto the champions of the arenas of eternity, and the dawning place of joy and exultation unto all creation. Immeasurably exalted is God, the maker of the heavens, who hath caused this day to speak forth that name, whereby the veils of idle fancy have been rent asunder. The mists of vain imaginings have been dispelled. And his name, the self-subsisting, hath dawned above the horizon of certitude. Through thee the choice wine of everlasting life hath been unsealed. The doors of knowledge and utterance have been unlocked before the peoples of the earth, and the breezes of the All-Merciful have been wafted over every region. All glory be to that hour wherein the treasure of God, the all-powerful, the all-knowing, the all-wise, hath appeared.
O concourse of earth and heaven. This is that first night, which God hath made to be a sign of that second night, whereon was born he whom no praise can be fittingly extol, and no attribute describe. Well is it with him who reflecteth upon them both. Verily he will find their outer reality to correspond to their inner essence, and will become acquainted with the divine mysteries that lie enshrined in this revelation. A revelation through which the foundations of misbelief have been shaken. The idols of superstition have been shattered, and the banner hath been unfurled, which proclaimeth, no God is there but him, the powerful, the exalted, the incomparable, the protector, the mighty, the inaccessible. On this night, the fragrance of nearness was wafted. The portals of reunion at the end of days were flung open, and all created things were moved to exclaim, the kingdom is God's, the Lord of all names, who is come with world-embracing sovereignty. On this night, the concourse on high celebrated the praise of their Lord, the exalted, the most glorious. And the realities of the divine names extolled him, who is the King of the beginning and the end in this revelation. A revelation through whose potency the mountains have hastened unto him, who is the all-sufficing, the Most High. And the hearts have turned towards the countenance of their best beloved. And the leaves have been stirred into motion by the breezes of yearning. And the trees have raised their voices in joyful reply to the call of him who is the unconstrained. And the entire earth hath trembled with longing in its desire to attain reunion with the eternal King. And all things have been made new by that concealed word which hath appeared in this mighty name.
The following preview is a new feature film called Dawn of the Light for the occasion of the 200th anniversary of the birth of the Bahá'í. This film follows the personal search for truth and meaning undertaken by 8 people from different parts of the world. Each one describes the journey to discovering that God has sent 2 manifestations for today, the Bab and Baha'u'llah, who are revolutionizing human thought and behavior. The stories of the 8 individuals are explored against the backdrop of the remarkable life of the Bab, the forerunner of Baha'u'llah. Please join us on Sunday, November 24th at the Speed Cinema. Doors will open at 5:30 for the free screening at 6 o'clock. Speed Cinema is on the south end of the Speed Art Museum building.
I grew up on the south side of the city. I was raised with a black mom and a white dad, and I grew up mostly with my mom, and so we lived in mostly all black neighborhoods. I went to all black schools. You have African Americans that are currently oppressed by this system that wasn't designed for their prosperity in the first place. How are we going to address this issue of racial prejudice and racial injustice? And how will we create a system that allows for all people to prosper spiritually and materially?
our region, people in higher castes who work in government offices, in schools, and in public places are always in positions of authority.
आफ्नो सबै कार्यहरू चलाउनु त्यसले गर्दाखेरि
For this reason, those who are rich are becoming richer, and those who are poor just become poorer and poorer. When will this gap between the castes end?
Mi familia en particular es como esta.
My family in particular is one of those traditional Chilean families. Religion and community life were always very present.
Como muy presente. Yo creía
I thought there was no room to question these types of traditions, that we were just repeating.
De verdad.
I was really longing to find someone to tell me it's okay for you to think differently, to have a different understanding of the world.
Tu comprensión sobre el mundo es otra.
When I think of my childhood or I think of my adolescence, it was a violent society, and it was a society that was divided, and the way that was expressed was through really through a war. Often people that you knew got killed. Because it's everywhere, it's very difficult to have a vision of life that transcends what's happening. I began to ask questions about the way we lived in this country. You know, why are we a society at war? We don't seem so different. Are we so different?
The society I was born into and within which I grew up has its own very beautiful traditions, and I like these traditions very much. However, there is still this attitude towards girls that puts them in a lower position than boys.
Erkaklarga nisbatan bo'lgan munosabatdan ko'ra pastroq hisoblanadi.
And this attitude becomes an obstacle for girls to pursue an education and fully develop their capacities. Why don't we give the same opportunities to girls? Aren't we, women, also created by God?
When my parents got divorced, I was about 8 or 9 years old. At that age, you don't really understand the long-term kind of implications. This union that's been the source of life, really, that breaks. It really makes me wonder, like how those emotions of fear, of anger, and resentment and helplessness, how they give way to joy, to hope, to the ability to rebuild unity in one's family.
I was lost, with no purpose. I was a person without any dream, a person without any identity. One of the most difficult things for a human being is to leave his country, leave his home, leave his family. I decided to leave Iraq for a number of reasons, spiritual and material. We would mainly engage in argument to prove that my opinion is better than yours, my religion is better than yours, and my race is better than yours.
هل الإنسان خلق حتى
Was the human being created to develop his soul, or to cause destruction and to create conflicts, which have no solution and no common goal?
وليس لها هدف مشترك.
Thanks to our girls, we are usually up at this time of the day. The girls are knocking on our door and demand to get in. So you have no choice but to get up. Yeah. You can see some light, ushering in the dawn of a new day. I grew up in a very religious home with the notion that the religion that I was following was the right one. But as I grew older, I began to get concerned. Does God not approve of other religions? If someone, for example, was born in another part of the world and they found themselves belonging to another religion, were they condemned? I just couldn't believe that God was like that. There had to be an explanation for the existence of different religions. As physicians, we use the clinical method to clearly define what ailment the patient has and prescribe the specific remedy for that illness. Baha'u'llah likens God to a divine physician, and that he has his finger on the pulse of humankind. And so from age to age, God has sent us these manifestations who come with this revelation that is able to solve the problems for that age.
Well, I love coming here at dawn. This is a peaceful, beautiful place. This is the shrine of the Bab, who was born 200 years ago. Now, this place is full of joy and light, but at the time he was born, the world was really filled with the darkness of oppression for many people.
Shiraz, Persia. The young Bab is an extraordinary boy. His astonished teacher sends him home, saying there is nothing he can teach this gifted pupil. While other children play, the Bab prefers to pray and meditate alone. As he grows up to become a young merchant, he is admired for his piety, his gentleness, and his sense of justice. The lives of people throughout Persia will in time come to be transformed by his presence amongst them.
This is an excerpt from the message of the Universal House of Justice, the International Governing Council of the Baha'i Faith, on the occasion of the Bicentenary of the birth of the Bab. To all who have come to honor the herald of a new dawn. Like a spring storm, the Bab came to purge and purify, to uproot the withered and spent customs of a wayward age, and to wash away the obscuring dust from the eyes of those blinded by illusion. But the Bab had a special object in view. He sought to prepare people for the imminent appearance of Baha'u'llah, the second of the twin luminaries destined to bring new light to humankind. Thus did the Bab, and with even greater splendor Baha'u'llah, illuminate a society and an age shrouded in darkness. They inaugurated a new stage in social evolution, the stage of the unification of the entire human family. The spiritual energies they released into the world infused a new life into every sphere of endeavor, the results of which are evident and the transformation that has occurred. Material civilization has advanced immeasurably. Astounding breakthroughs in science and technology have been achieved. The gates to the accumulated knowledge of humanity have been flung open. And principles set out by Baha'u'llah for the upliftment and progress of society and for ending systems of domination and exclusion that have come to be widely accepted. Consider his teaching that humanity is one people, or that women are equal with men, or that education must be universal, or that rational investigation of the truth must prevail over fanciful theories or prejudices. Across all nations, a large segment of the world's people now agrees with these fundamental values. There are many noble and admirable causes in the world, and they arise from particular perspectives, each with its own merit. Is the cause of Baha'u'llah merely one amongst them? Or is it universal, embodying the highest ideals of all humanity? After all, a cause that is to be the wellspring of enduring justice and peace, not for one place or one people, but for all places and all peoples, must be inexhaustible, must possess a heavenly vitality that allows it to transcend all limitations and encompass every dimension of the life of humanity. Ultimately, it must have the power to transform the human heart. Then let us observe attentively. Does not the cause of Baha'u'llah possess these qualities?
We're going to conclude this evening with the song titled "I Think You're Wonderful," written by Red Grammer. He is known internationally for his positive messages and fun music. Red Grammer delights children and their parents alike. Baha'is of Louisville would like to invite everyone to a ticketless concert by Red Grammer at the Kentucky Center for the Performing Arts on Saturday, November 9th at 2 p.m. Thank you again for joining us on this momentous occasion, Bicentenary of the birth of the Bahá'í. We will have time for fellowship and dessert immediately after this song. And please feel free to sing along if you feel inclined. Good night and God bless.
Wonderful when somebody says that to me. I feel wonderful, as wonderful can be. It makes me want to say the same thing to somebody new. And by the way, I've been needing to say that I think you're wonderful too. When we practice this phrase in the most honest way, find something special in someone each day. Lift up the world one heart at a time. We'll all start by saying this one simple line. I think you're wonderful. When somebody says that to me, I feel wonderful, as wonderful can be. It makes me want to say the same thing to somebody new. And by the way, I've been meaning to say, I think you're wonderful too. When each one of us feels important inside, loving and giving and glad we're alive. What a difference we'll make it each day. All because somebody I think you're wonderful. When somebody says that to me, I feel wonderful, as wonderful can be. It makes me want to say the same thing to somebody new. And by the way, I've been meaning to say, I think you're wonderful too. And by the way, I've been meaning to say, I think you're wonderful too. Two.